Hey guys, welcome to the Game Precast episode 26. My name is Frank. I'm joined by Mike, and this is our podcast where we talk about all things gaming. Today, we are going to be starting the show off with some Mass Effect Legendary Edition discussion. Now, I personally did not pick it up because I played it about maybe a year ago, a little over a year ago, for the first time ever. I went through all four games, so I didn't feel like it was worth a replay. But Mike played it for the first time, so I'd like to hear what you actually thought of it, at least for the first game or two.
Okay. Well, like you said, I never played the original trilogy, but I did dabble in Andromeda a little bit when it came out, and then a little bit again after. I never finished it, but prior to this Legendary Edition, I really had no experience with Mass Effect. I've always liked BioWare. KOTOR is one of the best games ever made, one of my favorite games of all time. So I was obviously familiar with their work, and even with shit like Neverwinter Nights, which I believe was them. I think it was, but that was a really good
Yeah.
game. So I knew they were quality. And I obviously am a massive sci-fi fan. I love Star Wars, so kind of the match made in heaven, especially if we aren't getting another KOTOR game anytime soon.
We will.
But well, I said soon. I don't think we're getting one within the next 1 to 2 years, but maybe this decade. We can hope.
Yeah.
Regardless, I didn't like Andromeda that much from what I played, so I was a little bit cautious going into this, but everyone told me that, this has way more choice. Everything, all the consequences are much more weighted. The characters are much stronger developed, and you definitely feel a connection with them more so compared to the characters in Andromeda, which I can't even remember a single one of besides the Ryder twins. Um, Regardless, I had a lot of mixed feelings coming into this trilogy, but after beating one, I put about 17 hours into that, and then I just beat two this morning, which I put like maybe a day and 6 hours into, maybe a little bit longer. I don't want to do the exact math here because I want to keep my thought train rolling, but put a lot of time into it. We'll go 30 hours for a ballpark, and holy fuck, man. These are some of my favorite games of all time now. Honestly, I'm blown away. Um, I gotta say this. I really liked pretty much Mass Effect 2 is better than Mass Effect 1 in every single way. But and before I get into the in specific discussion, I just want to cover two things that I thought one did a lot better than two. Um, Ammo. I liked how in one it was a recharge meter, so like you could shoot and then it would overheat if you weren't too careful, but you would always get your ammo back. You wouldn't have to go out to the battlefield and scavenge for it. In two, you had to, which I really didn't like because you had to leave cover a lot, run to where enemies died, and sometimes they wouldn't even have ammo there, so you just get lit up for no reason. Or if they do have ammo, it's not enough, especially in like boss fights at the end. Like I ran out of ammo for my AR and there was just no ammo left, so I had to use my pistol, which made it drag out the fight way longer than it needed to be. But pretty much besides that, I do believe two to be a better game. Um, except I did like one's ending a lot more than two's. Now maybe it's because there weren't much stakes in my suicide mission ME2 because look, everyone survived, and I'm not ungrateful for that fact because I want to see everyone in three when I play that game. But I just felt like there was really no danger. Like I upgraded all my ship all the way. I had obviously Legion as my tech specialist. I had Garrus leave the strike team twice. The only one I really like looked up to make sure no one died was who should lead the escape team back, and everybody was like Morden. So I was like, okay, sent Morden, and then they all survived because I went there immediately to make sure like Kelly and all the other regular like ship crew, whatever they're called, the red shirts, make sure they survived. Um, and then yeah, left all my pretty much everybody to hold the line. I brought Miranda and Legion for the final fight because they were definitely my favorite companions in the game. Legion's so fucking awesome. He gave me heavy Ethan vibes from Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, just way more stoic
Yeah.
instead of just happy-go-lucky.
For me, it was
But
always Garrison Miranda. For
oh well, Garrus and Miranda for the entirety of the game up until the final mission, but Garrus had to help the boys hold the line, so it
yeah,
had to be Legion.
got it.
Um, Regardless, if I feel like if people died, like I feel like if some of my crew died, I would have felt like, oh, this is so much more impactful. But I guess I could take pride in I really built so much of an elite team and made them completely loyal to me that there was just no way
Yeah,
they
I
were
mean,
dying.
you could have
So I guess
forgotten to upgrade the ship and have Kasumi go blow up.
Yeah, like I texted you, I saw her like just fiddling at the engine and then it just cut away. So I'm like, oh, I guess she would have just spontaneously combusted or
Yep.
croaked or some shit if
Complete
I didn't
fireball.
get the kinetic shielding. But no, I'm glad I was able to keep everyone alive, mainly just to see how it shakes up in ME3 to see who comes back and who doesn't, the interactions I can have. I also really thought rescuing Legion was cool because then you can kind of ally yourselves with the Geth essentially if you rewrite their programming instead of destroying the space station, which I did, and I thought that was really fascinating because they're the main enemy in Mass Effect 1. So to have them as a potential ally down the line, I really can't wait to see how that shakes up in ME3. But yeah, there's just so much to talk about and my mind is going in so many different directions because there's just so much content here, especially from someone who's like never played the games before. I really don't know which discussion point to latch onto.
Yeah.
But I guess you could ask like a specific question about an aspect of the game, and I can give you an answer if you want to know my thoughts on it. Because I mean, there's just so much I can't really grab onto
So
one
what did you think
specific.
of the elusive man?
Martin Sheen's the fucking man. I mean, listen, I'm a massive Scorsese fan, I'm a massive Departed fan, and I loved Martin Sheen playing Captain Queenan and that. And I also thought, even though I don't like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, he was a really good Uncle Ben. I just think he's a really great actor, and seeing him as the elusive man in gaming, I thought he would phone it in because it's a video game. He did not. Definitely a very interesting, intriguing, and compelling character. Not one I empathize with. It's one that I told to go fuck himself at the end of the game, essentially, because he wanted to continue this inhumane experiment. And I said, "You're still on my team, elusive man, but we're doing it my way. The crew has my loyalty. Um, you're kind of a psychopath, so." We're destroying the station and we'll keep fighting this war, but we aren't going to compromise our humanity in the process. But I like how he tries to coax you into doing it slowly over time, kind of like a Palpatine-esque character, but obviously much more different. I only make that comparison because it's just like he doesn't use like brash coercion to get you on his side. He uses subterfuge, like he implants little things throughout like your consciousness throughout the game. I don't mean like nanomachines or anything, but just like suggestions of thought, I guess you could say, just like subtly trying to influence you throughout the game to make your decisions what he would do. And I mean that's very evident in I forget what the mission was called, but he sends you to I forget what the place was. He sends you to this place and he knows it's highly dangerous and he fails to mention it to you until after the fact because he thought the ends justified the means.
Yeah.
And you have an option to agree with him after the fact. And I feel like if you do that, you really start going down a path where like you're just a yes man for him. You kind of slowly become an indoctrinated type person like Anakin Skywalker. Um, so I thought it was cool that that element was there where you could really let this guy take control of your life and have him be not just a mentor but kind of a master if you so chose to do so. That's cool. So I liked his implementation a lot, the elusive man, but I really like how you have the choice of saying, piss off, I need your resources, but this is my team, we're doing it my way, or you can essentially just become the man's partner in crime. Thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So who'd you end up romancing in?
Miranda in two. In one, it was Ashley because I wasn't even going for a romance. He just showed up at my room in the end of the game, and I was like, I guess this is happening.
I gotta
Um,
Google who Ashley is. I fucking forget, dude.
Chief Ashley Williams. She's the opposite of Caden.
Ah, you see, I went bros before hoes, dude. So you saved
Wasn't
Ashley.
like that. I wasn't like that. I thought, protecting the nuclear bomb was a higher priority, and Ashley just so happened to be there. Um, yeah, but in two, I romanced Miranda, but it's not working. Like I tweeted at BioWare that like I romanced her, like I'm able to invite her up to my room now after the campaign and everything. Like the relationship's there. It's just the achievement for doing it
Yeah.
is not. So that's really annoying, and I can't start three because that achievement is linked to one and three.
Well, you made the right
And
choice. Miranda is the best romance in ME2.
yeah, I figured. Definitely the best ass in ME2 as well. Um, anyways, What was I saying? I want to get back to the conversation of endings because I said how I was underwhelmed by ME2's ending, and I just want to follow that up with how great ME1's ending was. And I definitely think it's a step above just because of the amount. Like, I know everything can constantly change during the suicide mission, but if you plan ahead, you're pretty much fine the whole way through. With ME1's ending, I really liked how it brought major choices on you in the middle of the final mission. Like, the one thing I'll never forget, well, there's two things I'll never forget, but I'll say the first one to go with this point. Um, when you are fighting Saren, or not when you're fighting Saren, when you're done fighting Saren for the first phase, or if something else happens, which I want to get into, um, you'll be told that Sovereign, the Reaper, is closing in on the Citadel and is almost making the connection to allow the Reapers to come back. And so, in the middle of like this intense action sequence, cutscene bursts out, and it's just like you have a choice. You can either send the Alliance fleet, because the Alliance is loyal to you above all else. Fuck the Council. You can send the Alliance fleet and Admiral Hackett to help you fight Sovereign and hold the Reapers back, but the Council will die. Or you can help them save the Council. I was like, oh shit, this is a real fucking choice right here. So either save the entire galaxy, or at least ensure the safety of the entire galaxy by having the firepower you need, or save a bunch of useless fucking bureaucrats who stalled you and cockblocked you the entire game, even though you warned them separate times. So obviously I told Hackett to come help us and, like stop Sovereign, and it was just it was so climactic. It felt so fucking awesome because you just see like all the ships pulling away in Hack. It's like we have new orders. We have to help Commander Shepard and the team fucking take down the Reapers. And it's like he's like, this is for all of humanity. And I love even at the end, like this one officer is like, we have to pull back. It's too much. And Hackett's like, no, this is it. This is our one shot. And it was awesome. It was fucking awesome. It was highly cinematic. I know I sound like a massive nerd. I don't care. It was sick. And
Yeah.
I loved how all this was happening just around me, and I had to actively make this decision. It's not like, oh, there's this thing is going to happen. You have to think about what you're going to do. It's like, no, right now, 10,000 people in the council die, and you leave, Earth and the rest of, the galaxy up to Reaper invasion, or you stop that possibility right here at the cost of those 10,000 lives. That's a fucking choice.
It is.
I love that they implemented that, and there wasn't really anything like that in the middle of two's final mission, besides destroying the factory at the end or saving the research for Cerberus use, which obviously I destroyed the
Well, I
factory.
mean, I guess the reason they kind of didn't have some big choices because some people did lose a lot of people in that final mission, so that was technically your choices right there.
So
You know, and
that would be massive and definitely up the
yeah,
stakes. But if you just plan ahead,
because
it doesn't
I
happen.
think I don't know who was
Oh,
actually get invincible, like besides your character. I think everyone could have died. I think I've seen endings where everyone dies on that mission. It's
Shepard can die.
yeah, Shepard can even die, and you could fail the whole game pretty much.
Well, no,
Um,
you can stop it. You can blow the factory, but if you like don't escape in time,
yeah.
you're done.
Now, obviously,
Which
not the
is
canon ending, but still,
yeah.
it could happen. And I mean, you can just have Shepard survive, and all those characters are technically dead in three. Um,
But main villain in two, the Harbinger, was so weak. It's like you fight him probably 30 times throughout the game whenever he takes control of a little minion, and it's just an added shield and armor bar, and then they're actually no, it's not even an added armor bar. There is no health bar, so you take out the shields and the armor, and then he's just done.
yeah.
And you just have that repeated throughout the whole time until you blow up the ship, and then he goes kaput. It's just like that compared to Saren is such a fucking ball gag. I mean, it really just doesn't feel as worthwhile of a prey to chase. I mean, like Saren is always one step ahead of you. His goals are very much outlined to you from the start, and you understand perfectly why you've got to stop this guy, especially with him just capping Nihilus in the beginning of the game. Your Spectre liaison. So you immediately know who this guy is, his motivations, and why you need to take him down. And just the Harbinger, I felt was so bland and generic with his reasonings. Just like we need to serve our masters and destroy humanity. We must open the portal or the gateway, whatever the fuck. It's like okay, like we've seen this before, and it's well executed. I'm not gonna say it's not, but it's not original necessarily compared to what they did with Saren. And granted, Saren's plotline isn't necessarily the most unique thing in the world, but the character himself is compelling enough to make it feel like it is. Especially, and this is the second point I wanted to talk about regarding the endings, the fact that you can have. So it doesn't tell you this at all, but when you are at the nuke on Vermeer and Saren confronts you there, if your Paragon is high enough and your Charisma stat or whatever it's called is high enough, you have an option to accuse him of being indoctrinated by the Reaper. That's the only reason why he's doing those things. And
Yeah.
then he denies it. He denies it, but you can tell it fucks with him. And then later, when you see him on the Citadel, if and only if you chose that one dialogue option during that one cutscene, you have another option because he comes back and he says, "I started to doubt Sovereign after you told me what you told me." So I had him implant upgrades in me to make me stronger, to make my will more my own, to make myself my own person. I'm like, can't you see that? And because I had that previous dialogue choice, I can now say, like, can't you see that now you're fully indoctrinated, that he has complete control of you? And then if you follow these dialogue options and you keep prodding him, you'll find out that it really never was Saren doing these things, and that he was indoctrinated by Sovereign from the start. And he finally breaks free for just a second to thank you, and then he shoots himself in the head. And that
Yeah.
completely negates the entire first phase of the boss. Like, that shit, that is so much player agency. That's almost Fallout New Vegas level player agency. Obviously not like the exact same freedom, but in terms of dialogue it is, for sure. And I just loved how that one little sentence that I said on Vermeer carried so much weight until the end of the game.
Yeah.
I was blown away by that. For a 2007 game, that was incredible. And there was nothing like that in 2. And that bummed me out because 2 is such a better game in terms of graphics, in terms of content, in terms of gameplay, in terms of enemy variety, in terms of mission variety. Maybe not in terms of companions. I'd say they're on par in terms of companions, but the amount of lore that's there for your companions, the loyalty missions, and the gunplay apart from the ammo mechanic, I think everything is done so much better in 2. But I felt like the ending just wasn't as satisfying as it was in ME1. Even though I completely won, I guess, like you said, the impact really comes from losing your crewmates, or at
Yeah.
least a portion of them, the ones that you care about. And since that didn't happen to me, I didn't have that same emotional impact. So I get it, but I can only judge off of my playthrough. Like, these games are completely based off of player choices, which is why I think, besides from like gameplay mechanics, watching a review for this type of thing would be useless because the game and your experience is completely tailored to how you interact with the world and the characters within it. So I don't know. Even though Mass Effect 2 on paper and honestly a lot of the times in practice is better in every single way, it just doesn't have that same like emotional weight at the end that ME1
That's
did. That
fair.
same level of satisfaction, at least for me.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people consider Mass Effect 1, more enjoyable from a story slash, narrative perspective. I
Oh,
mean,
I didn't know
obviously,
that.
gameplay improves a lot in Mass Effect 2. And I mean, you don't even really know how big it actually does improve because they improved Mass Effect 1 gameplay in the Legendary Edition.
Mm.
So it's even a bigger leap up if you're playing like the normal version of Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 from a gameplay perspective. Just like how dated things feel to a certain degree. But yeah, I mean, and I mean up next for you whenever you get to it is Mass Effect 3. I know you're waiting
Yeah,
on
they have to patch that
hopefully on a
achievement
patch.
first before I can play. But I mean, I am very excited to get into 3. I mean, these already are some of my favorite games of all time. It's just the fact that all your choices carry out throughout all 3 games, and it's not a telltale game.
Yeah, that is
That's
cool.
great. I wish more RPG series would do that. Um, I hope when Mass Effect 4 comes out, because it does look like a direct continuation from 3. And even though I know nothing about 3, remembering the trailer now, I'm pretty sure that's Liara in the
Yes.
trailer for ME4. So we know it's going to be a direct continuation. I hope with this Legendary Edition, we're able to transfer our choices from this into ME4.
I'm going to say why I don't think it will. I don't
Go ahead.
expect you to play as Shepard in ME4, considering the fact that they're in the trailer, they're looking for something, and I just expect that you're gonna not that like Andromeda kind of thing where it's like, oh, you have these two characters, and I do. Part of me also thinks the Andromeda characters are coming into ME4. I think because what people were speculating was that this
Don't
was
spoil anything for Andromeda if you're about to, because I haven't finished it, and I
okay.
do want to
I
go
won't.
back
I
and
won't.
play it.
No more words. But people think that it could be like a little crossover kind of thing with certain characters, which could be cool. I do think you're just gonna start with kind of a fresh state kind of character. Like I don't think you're gonna be like, oh, I'm playing a Shepherd or I'm playing as Garrus or Liara or any of these characters from the original trilogy or from Andromeda. I expect it to just be a blank state kind of thing because then I don't know how difficult it'd be to kind of transfer choices from three games into this new thing, especially since it's kind of like a brand new team working on it. Like I don't think there's that many people working on Mass Effect 4 who actually worked on the original games.
But it's probably safe to assume that everybody who worked on the Legendary Edition is working on ME4.
That is a decent point. Yeah, that's fair.
You don't necessarily have to carry over choices from 1, 2, and 3 because your one choice is carrying into 2, and then your two choices carry into 3. So you really just have to bring over the data from 3.
I just expect them, and it'd be cool if they didn't. It'd be cool if they gave you the
Not
option, like, oh,
necessarily
what did you do
character
at the end
thing,
of 3? But I expect them to kind
like
of
world building.
I just kind of expect them to be like, all right, we're picking this ending of Mass Effect 3 and we're making it the canon ending, and that is that. And you're going to play as a new characters, and then none of that, just because it's less work for them. And that's what I expect. It's the safer choice.
Hey,
Is
if we even get an ME4 because of Dragon Age 4 flops, I mean,
yeah,
I
EA
doubt
will be
we'll see
shipping
Mass
them.
Effect 4.
But
I mean, that the thing is like, yeah, looking through the credits of ME2, like first thing that pops up, Casey Hudson. I'm like, oh, oh, he's gone, and
yeah,
it's just I don't, I'm not confident. Because I'm playing these games and I realize how special they are. I understand why people love them as much as they do. Hell, I'm an immediate like mega fan now. I love Mass Effect. I can confidently say that even though I haven't finished the entire trilogy yet. I don't see that same like spark and passion that's so prevalent in 1 and 2 and Andromeda in Anthem. Well, obviously not fucking Anthem. It's just like, do we even want a Mass Effect 4 if it's not gonna be Mass Effect? Because I mean, I didn't really have all those problems that people had with Andromeda at launch, besides like the animation shit. I mean more narrative stuff. But now that I've played, you know, 2 out of the original trilogy, I definitely understand where the anger comes from. Because it really has nothing to do with the original trilogy. I just don't find it as compelling, and I just feel like the characters are much weaker because they just aren't as, well written.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
just
there's a
don't see
lack of
that
choice and
same.
consequence.
Yeah, it's always like 2 dialogue options, nothing else. I remember that's why I took like an extended hiatus, which is still going on to this day from the
Yeah.
game, because I just felt like, well, if it's either, good or bad, I don't really give a fuck
Yeah, I
anymore.
mean, I do think it's worth going back to after you beat 3. I mean, that's what
Well,
I did when I ran through the games. And I thought it was better than what people made it out. Like I went into it thinking it was going to be really bad, and it was a decent experience. It was still worse than the original trilogy, but it was
yeah.
still a decent experience. And
The
I,
only compelling thing for me was like, oh, you're in a new galaxy, everything is foreign,
yeah,
and you're trying to make a foothold here, which I like that because I love space, I love space exploration, I love the idea of, uh, I don't want to say a colony, but
yeah.
like
I mean,
a research team, whatever it is, going out and exploring, completely unknown space where not even a satellite or a probe has been. That's fucking awesome. But besides that, then you're like, oh, the story isn't as, adrenaline pumping. The stakes aren't as high. The characters aren't as interesting. The worlds feel more lifeless. The lore is, I don't, hmm, the lore is kind of, I don't want to say discarded or anything that extreme. But I just feel like they pressed, the start over button and got rid of so much world building, so many, past links to the previous entries. It's just like, did you even want to make a Mass Effect game? Because it's just Mass Effect in name and in gameplay, but it doesn't have that same love put into it that the original trilogy did. At least from what I remember playing, I just don't see that same passion, which is clearly prevalent in Mass Effects 1 and 2.
Well, I think it
Like
was
you could
more of
tell
that.
everybody who wanted to work on those original games wanted to
Yeah.
work on those games, and they loved every second of it, and that love, that passion was poured into every single intricate detail of the game, and that came through very clearly. I don't see that same level of enthusiasm with Andromeda. I just feel like they told Bioware Montreal, okay, you're making a new Mass Effect game. You don't have a say. Make it
Well,
work.
yeah, I think it was more that they wanted to. It was a new team working on it. There weren't that many people working on the original thing. They wanted to make their own trilogy that could have been as big or bigger than the original trilogy, and they failed. But their
It's funny
plan was
because
to
like
make this be more popular than the original trilogy and have their own world and their own fresh set of characters. And they were hoping that like Ryder was going to become more popular than Shepard, which obviously doesn't happen. But that's that.
I mean, yeah, I can tell you Scott Ryder's a punk bitch compared to John Shepard. That's an absolute fact. It's crazy how a game from 2007 can be better in every single way than a game that was purposefully trying to top it over 10 years later.
Yeah,
Or 10 years later. I forget when Andromeda came out. What was it? 2016, 2017, somewhere around there?
17.
17. Yeah, so 10 years exactly. You know, they had a decade of a head, not I don't want to say a head start, but they had a decade lead over them with all this new technology, all these lessons learned. The previous games being there as inspiration to draw from. They're like, "Oh, we're going to make it so much better." And it can't even hold a candle to the game from '07.
Yeah,
That's sad. That's fucking sad.
I mean the combat's fun, but that's about it.
The combat's great, but yeah, it's Anthem combat,
Yeah,
which is the only good thing about Anthem. People says the combat
yeah,
and the gunplay and flying around like Iron Man. But I just I'm nervous because now I'm invested in this franchise where I wasn't before.
yeah.
So I really want it to succeed now. I can't be as, well, I'm going to be as harsh, but I can't hate BioWare as much as I, have
You want to root for
prior
them
to
now?
this because I want to root for them. I want Mass Effect to come back to its glory days. I want the original trilogy story continued, even though I haven't beaten 3 yet. I know I'm going to want more after it. It's just man, I should not have played Andromeda first. I should not have done that. But I am gonna go back to it, and honestly, I am thinking about picking up the games for 360 because they are backwards compatible, and I want to see how the originals run, and I want to see the differences, and I really want to do it on Renegade as well.
They're on
To
Game
have
Pass.
they are
Yeah, through EA Play.
well,
So
I
you could,
mean, you know me, I still
yeah,
prefer my physical games, so I'll still probably pick up that trilogy that came out a while back with all three. But yeah, I mean, in short. Mass Effect 1 and 2 is fucking awesome. I mean, just the IP as a whole is awesome. There's so much world building that's quality. The characters are so compelling and intriguing. The story has so much player agency regarding choice and consequence. It almost feels so foreign to play a game like that in 2021 where that feature is so absent in many modern titles. It's a breath, even though it's old, it's a breath of fresh air. And if you haven't played these games before, like I did, I seriously suggest that you go into them right now and get them because I think my total playtime so far is like a day and 23 hours. And I haven't done all the content in 1 and 2, and I probably will go back and do more side content in 2 before I'm able to play 3 because I'm able to keep playing after the game ends.
yeah. I mean, a
Regardless,
lot of the side content does carry over into the following game. Like even in Mass Effect 1, a lot of that side content. I don't know about a lot, but some of it does show up in 2, character-wise.
not much of it though.
Yeah, I mean, I remember there being a few characters.
I
Like there
saw the
was,
Rachni Queen again, or I
yeah,
saw
there was
some.
like this one bitch, this blonde hair soldier. I remember in Mass Effect 1, who was like this little whiny bitch, and he shows up, or not a whiny bitch. You want to like go on a mission with Shepard, and Shepard's just like no. And I don't know. Have you seen him in Mass Effect 2? He might show up in Mass Effect 3 then.
I don't remember who you're talking about, but I remember the super fan, Comrade
Yeah, that's
Werner,
what I'm thinking of right now, probably.
who would constantly pester you and like, yeah, he wants to like join you, and
Yeah,
then you
that's who
tell him,
I'm talking about. Did he show up in Mass Effect 2?
yeah, he did, and he wanted to like do an investigation, and I told him to piss off, and that I'd handle it for him, and I still haven't. But I'll go back and do it probably
Then he
because
does something in Mass Effect 3 pretty big. So you bet.
let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Does my choices from ME2 only carry over from like the final mission and before, or does what I do after the final mission still carry over
Yes,
into
it should.
okay. So as
It
long as I
should just
wait
be
to
that whole
start on
save file.
okay, gotcha. That's what I was hoping
Yeah, I
for
mean, I'm
though.
not sure about like the actual technology and how they fucking managed to do it, but I mean, it's working, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I remember
Works.
in the games when you played them individually, you would be like, "Oh, do you have this game?" And you're like, "Yes." Then you just click the save file that you had in the old game. But I mean, I'm sure they managed to make it work. Which is
Well,
cool.
now as soon as I started ME2, like as soon as I hit start a new game, it said, "Do you like?" There's no like transfers file or anything. It's just like, "Do you want to import your ME1 character?" You press yes, and that's it.
That's dope.
It is.
Yeah. So then
It's
all
such a
that
smooth
is
transition. But again, if I said if you haven't played the games before, you should go out and get it right now. If you have played the games before and it's been a few years, go out and get it. It looks beautiful. It runs beautifully. The photo mode is awesome to play around with. I didn't even mention that, but just the enhanced visuals. The photo mode is so much fun to uh, just mess around with, especially since they got rid of certain camera angles in cutscenes. You can bring those camera angles back with your own will if you so choose. And you know what I'm talking about if you've kept up to date with the
yes,
situation. I know Frank is very well aware of what I'm talking about.
very well aware.
But yeah, I mean, I really think for $60, this is a fucking steal. It is an absolute steal, especially with all the DLC included as well, which is some pretty quality stuff. Like I did Lair of the Shadow Broker
That's a
yesterday in
great one.
ME2. That was awesome. And then the
Mass Effect
ME1, I
3, that was
stopped.
a good one too.
Then ME1, I stopped the asteroid from colliding into that colony Terra Nova. It's just this is a game purchase that I don't regret at all. Not one bit. And I would say it's been a long time since I've had a game that was like that, but I did just have Village, which was worth every penny. But if Village didn't come out, I would be saying this is like, the most quality game I played in a long time. Definitely gonna be in my top 5 games of 2021. I can tell you. And I know last year when we did like our game rankings, um, we didn't include remasters because they're not new games, but we're gonna have to this year because I never played these, so it's
Yeah.
essentially a game for me.
Um,
But
but when you do the Mass Effect 3 DLC, I recommend saving it towards the end. Like, do it before that point of no return screen pops up. Go keep it towards the end. It's a good last happy moment of the game. A nice little celebration
where
of
everything
life.
goes to shit.
Yes.
Before I have to pick between red or blue to decide the fate of the galaxy, from what I've been told, unless I do something beforehand to
Yes.
get the good ending, which I don't know what that
Uh,
is. But I'll figure. I
very,
imagine.
very loosely a good ending.
Well, one where you live, I guess you should say.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what I have to do for that. I hope it's like a Mass Effect 2 thing where I just have to do all the crew loyalty missions and that's it.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
All right.
Because I don't even know when I'll get to play 3. I want to play 3, but until BioWare gets on their shit, fixes that achievement, I don't know.
All right. On that note, we are going to move into our news. So our first topic of the news week is coming from Jeff Kiley. So the Summer Game Fest of 2021 is going to be starting on June 10th with a kickoff live event. So there's going to be live world premiere showcase, including a performance by Weezer, and it'll be
Oh,
starting at
fuck.
2 p.m. EST on Thursday, June 10th. And then they mentioned other partners and people who might be there: 2K, Activision, Amazon, Annapurna, Bandai. There's a ton of studios. Pretty much every studio who you're familiar with has some sort of partnership there. Besides Nintendo, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, I don't see Nintendo. So they're like the one studio. But every other major, publisher seems like they're being a partner for it. Who knows if they'll be there. Um, he did say that it's going to be over 12 world premieres, and it will be a duration of 2 hours. So,
So 12 world premieres in this one broadcast or over the entirety of
in
Summer
this one
Games?
showcase, this 2 hour
Okay.
showcase, we'll have 12 plus world premieres. Now, that's about the same amount as I think the Game Awards. I think that's what he said. It was like 10 plus at the Game Awards. And I mean, there is some notable stuff there, but nothing crazy. I don't know what to expect here for this show.
I hope we see, because I recently just started playing Judgment again, and I haven't finished it. I want to see Lost Judgment gameplay. The sequel that's coming out in September. I think it's likely that we might see a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, like he's setting expectations and he's saying like, "Oh, don't expect anything like too crazy here. Crazier stuff will happen later in the year." So, and he's pointing towards Gamescom and Game Awards.
So we can forget about Elden Ring.
Dude, I'm crossing my fingers, but it's just like
Elden Ring has to be either at Summer Games Fest or the Game Awards, and if it's not this year,
Or
the
E3.
game doesn't exist. The game just doesn't fucking exist. If it's not
We'll see it this year. We have to.
we have to. I mean, literally at this point, we have to. Otherwise, it's probably going to get stuck in development hell. I guarantee if we don't see it this year, it's going to get stuck in development hell, and it's going to get canceled. Because I've always had an inkling that this game would never happen. I've always had an inkling.
Just because George R. R. Martin.
Well, not even because of that fat prick. It's because, whenever a game company launches, a new title with just a cinematic trailer, and then we get nothing else
For
for
2
years,
years.
I assume it's canceled.
Yo, why you hating on my boy George R. R. Martin, bro?
Because there's like a Capcom game that looked fucking awesome back when the PS4 first launched. I forget what it was called, but it looked very intriguing.
Scalebound?
And
No, that's not
no,
Capcom. Never mind. Nah,
Platinum.
that's fucking
Yeah,
platinum.
that's platinum. But I forget what it was called because obviously it's been so many years now.
What else has
But
been developed?
I think it started with a D, but it wasn't Dragon's Dogma or anything like that. Regardless, I was like, oh, this looks cool. Can't wait to see more of it. And I never saw more of it. I mean, it's just these cinematic trailers. They're, just ways for companies to say, oh, we're making something, but we have nothing to show yet. And if that's all we get for a really long time, it's logical to assume that they have nothing to show. And that could just lead to the end of the project. And
Oh, deep
I
down.
obviously have no idea about, the intricacies of what goes on behind From Software's doors, but I swear to God, if Martin is like just taking up everyone's time and causing Miyazaki to like lose his mind, I'll be so
Nah,
pissed.
he just did the lore.
He did the lore. Did
Yeah,
he
that's it.
finish the lore?
Yes,
Did he
lore.
finish
I'd
the lore?
imagine, bro. But the game you're talking about from Capcom, it's called Deep Down.
Yes, that's what it was called.
Yeah, but why you hating on my boy George R. R. Martin, bro? I've been reading a Game of Thrones. Just started it.
Because the man has an unhealthy obsession with incest and he puts it into all of his works for no goddamn reason, far more frequently than it would ever need to be.
Expect some Elden Ring.
You
It's
can't tell me it's not a fetish, Frank, because of how fucking much of it there is. If it was one scene or maybe twice throughout the whole series, maybe he can pass it off. But the fact that it's in it as much as it is, he has a fucking sick taste. It's sadistic, and he puts it in all of his media, and it's part of the reason why I hate on him. Also, I just think he's a shitty writer sometimes. I mean,
shitty.
when it comes to certain characters who look, it's Rob Stark that gets me. It's Rob fucking Stark. The man starts out so strong, and then he just completely changes
He was 15. He had a.
every single facet about his character flops in one fucking episode just to serve the needs of the plot, just to make him an idiot.
He's
Plot sake.
15. He wanted to have
Bullshit.
sex.
He's
bro.
a full-grown man with a beard. Bullshit. He's not 15. Look at him.
He's 15 in the books, but they aged him up in the show. But he still had to follow his book character, and the book character is 15, and he wanted some pussy, bro. All right, so.
Okay, well, maybe that makes sense because no one should be a king at 15. But in the show, if he wrote that part, that's brain dead stupidity. Like, dude, we're gonna go off topic here, but just real quick, you're gonna start a war that you can't win.
Spoiler warning.
You're gonna start a war that you can't win. Actually start to win it. Have the richest, most powerful family on your continent running for the hills, and then you're like, oh, I met this nice chick. I'm going to start acting dumb. I'm going to keep all these prisoners. I'm not going to let my own liege lord kill Lannister boys. I'm going to execute him when he does so in front of his own men, even though my loyalty with the other liege lords is flailing.
They were children. They didn't need to die.
Especially with the guy at the back of the fucking, campaign, guarding the bridge for him. You just screwed him over because you promised to marry his fucking whore of a daughter. It's like, you're a moron. And look, maybe they were children, right? But they're children of the enemy family, not just a family.
You were gonna trade
the
them. You were gonna trade them to save Sansa Stark and Arya.
Sansa is a coward and a traitor. Arya is a badass who left and made her own way, and I get Rob doesn't know that, but he should damn well know that Sansa stood right by her father as he was executed and did nothing. Fucking coward. I hope she dies a terrible death.
She was 11 years old in the book. What did you want her to do? Kill Cersei?
Say something. Literally, just say, "Don't kill my dad." Maybe for a start, that would
Bro, she
fucking
was
be fun.
crying for them not to kill
No,
her.
she wasn't. She didn't
Go
stop it
rewatch
all
the
the
clip.
same.
She's yelling at them to stop, bro. Rewatch the clip. All right, we are getting way too off topic.
Bullshit. Anyway, the guy is stupid. Rob Stark is fucking stupid, man. It's dumb, but seriously, like when you're attacking an enemy and that you have members of their royalty and you want to make sure that that family never gains power again after you beat them, you eliminate the entire family. It's classic Machiavelli. It's literal textbook warfare, especially in old
But
dynastic
Rob was
kingdoms like this.
15 and he didn't want to kill innocent children.
Listen, though, that's what you gotta understand. They
And
are a part
that's why he failed though. That's why
of this
Tywin beat
evil
him.
ruling. He's a part of this evil ruling family. Who gives a fuck if they're kids, man? I hate to say it. That's war. Look, back in, I don't want to say ancient times because it makes me sound like a fucking idiot. But back in, the Middle Ages, feudal Europe, this is how things were solved. You can't expect to maintain power if you leave just some of the ruling elite alive because they're going to amass followers, that were loyal to their family. They're going to come back and bite you in the ass at some point, even if it's not as immediate as it was clearly lining up to be with Rob Stark before I finished watching the show. He's an idiot. And look, maybe his age explains away some things in the book, but if Martin wrote this shit for the show, like, and he changed it for the show, he's an idiot. If it was someone else, I'm not going to
It
call him
was
an idiot.
D&D who did the changes.
Okay, George R. R. Martin, I take everything back except
Besides the
your crazy
incest.
incest. Yeah, no, that's all you, and it's sick and it's fucked, and you really shouldn't put that shit in your novels. And it really, look, I get some people are obsessed with sex in this new fucking culture we have, and it's whatever. I draw the line at the family shit, okay? It's not like, again, the first fucking episode, you see it. Whatever.
Multiple times. You see it through Cersei and Jamie, and then you see Dany and her brother doing a little touchy. So,
We'll say this though. David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are fucking idiots. They
that
don't
is
know how to write for shit. They don't know how to adapt a story for shit. And thank God, Kathleen Kennedy is a massive moron, but
so
thank
they would
God
have been
she
worse for
had the
stories.
sense. She even had the sense to say, no, fuck you guys. Even though I want her gone and she's just as terrible as them. Anyway, let's end
Let's
this
move
discussion
on.
now. We're gonna need a timestamp for this, or a
Yes.
warning. Just be
I
like,
put
hey,
a Game of Thrones spoiler as the fucking timestamp
It,
thing.
it's just like this is where the conversation gets off the rails and has nothing to do with the show
All
that
right,
we.
well, let's talk about our favorite person, Jason Schreier. So he came out and he shut down a rumor that was saying that, oh, I think Starfield could come out this year, and he basically said, Starfield is nowhere near done, according to several people familiar with the development. It'll be at E3, but the planned release date is later than people expect. Sharing this so folks will keep their expectations in check. What people might not realize is that bulk of BGS, which is Bethesda Game Studios, including the Maryland office, was working on Fallout 76 until it launched, which is true, but it was not their full freaking thing. It was very much in the early stages, and then they dipped
Some
off.
Austin thing,
Yeah,
right?
it was very much in the early development, and then they kept a few people on until launch, but I don't think they had their full studio working on 76, and then
Yeah,
gave it to
definitely
Austin
not
after
the
launch.
way that. Look, I know you like 76, but for the majority of us out there, it's
Yeah,
still a
I know.
shit.
I know a lot of people hate it.
Oh,
And then he went
and
on
I
to
even
say,
got back into it recently, and it's still a shit game in my
"It's
opinion.
better. It's better than it, but it's
They're so
improved, but it's still
bland.
bad.
They're
It's still
terrible. They're terribly written. They're terribly
it's still
voice
the worst
acted.
Fallout game." But let me finish this tweet real quick.
All
He
right.
said that Starfield's
I just
team.
want to make the point that there was no way their entire studio could be working on this. I was agreeing with you. There's
Yeah,
with the way that game launched, the like how fucking piss poor it is and was. There's no way you're telling me all Bethesda Maryland was completely
yeah.
dedicated
It
to
was.
this.
It had to be mainly Austin. I'm telling you, they worked on helping it get its footing and all that in the very early stages of this. But then
Yeah,
majority of their team had to be
or
working on Starfield. I don't believe this party Jason's sweet, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think.
Who are we? I mean, Jason probably knows more than us, source wise. Rumors that the game was planned for 2020 or far into production are not true. I don't believe that. Um, I've seen skepticism, but I'd remind you to look at the credits, which doesn't mean anything. That just means they helped out in the game. Um, and then he did follow it up with something, I think.
Remember, Jason can't give us everything because if he does, he's gonna burn bridges.
Yeah.
Well,
And
there's
then
certain things he could, I
and
don't want to say lie about, but misinterpret the truth, I guess, if you want to be coy about it.
yeah.
Or maybe his sources just straight up lied to him because he knows they know they have a big platform, and he's like, or the source is just like, hey, this is what's going on, and then they whisper to their friend, sorry, what's going on? And it's like, okay, Jason, here's your scoop. Enjoy. You got about half of it right. Half of
I
it's an
mean,
egg.
Jason has
Not
always
gonna tell him.
been. He waits. Like Jeff Grubb is someone who gives out pretty much everything he hears. Jason is pretty picky on what he gives out, so I feel like he has to trust his source to say that.
He is.
But he
No,
did follow up with another tweet saying, "Let me make this very clear. Bethesda's plan is to tease a release date for Starfield at E3. The date is very late, well, not very late, late with asterisks surrounding it, 2022. Um, so I would imagine fall 2022 if I had to guess. I'll leave the specifics to them, but please keep your expectations in check and refrain from sending death threats to me when the other rumors turned out to be false." So,
well, I don't think anyone's gonna send you death threats,
nah,
Jason.
they probably will, bro.
For that, come on. I think he's overreacting.
Nah, I already read a few in his fucking comments, bro.
Oh,
People
so
very much dislike Jason, which, but we're not going to dive into that.
well, he does invite it. You can't deny it. He does invite a lot of that with his attitude.
I mean, he
If people
does with
don't threaten
sometimes
the man,
the way he
that
is. He's very cocky, but then
antagonistic.
again, it kind of has the right to be cocky because he is probably one of the highest media people in this industry.
Doesn't give you the right to act like you're better than someone else, though. I don't give a shit what your status is or your prestige. I'd say the same thing to anyone with a position of power. If I'm the president, it's like you can't talk down or demean people because you hold a high stature position in media in politics, whatever it may be. You can't act like that. And I
Yeah,
understand people give him a lot of shit, and obviously if anyone sends them a death threat, they're a fucking coward and they have no place on any communicative platform if all you're going to do is threaten and incite violence. But he definitely is, and I don't. He has a big ego. It's pretty inflated, and I
yeah,
mean, like if you challenge what he says, he gets mad and he blocks you. It hasn't happened to us yet, but I'm sure if he ever notices anything we say, it'll happen immediately. It's just the man. He's a good journalist. He gets good sources. He gives us good scoops. He gives us good stories. He's very good at his job, but he could do more to be a better person, at least have a better image with the people who actually subscribe to your content, the people that give you a living wage essentially. Because I mean, yes, you have to give him credit. He's built all this audience up on his own. He's done incredible things in the industry, and he's definitely a very important and honestly needed figure in this time.
yeah,
But he just I don't want to say he has a responsibility as like someone with that position to act better, but he does have a responsibility as just a human being to act better. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I do want to say that his positives have outweighed the negatives of things. I mean, he's done a lot of great things between going
I'm
out and
not
talking
saying
about what's
bad
going on in
too.
Rockstar or what's going on at CD Projekt Red or Ubisoft, but he is high on
I
his
don't like
horse
the way
sometimes.
I don't like the way he treats other people. Personally, that's my only issue with
That's
him. I
fine.
don't like the
That's
way that
fair.
he talks down to people.
But let's move into not a big news topic, but something pretty major that did happen. Um, so now, as you're probably aware, which you are aware, but most people watching this probably aren't aware of, there was a big deal that happened earlier in the week with Warner Media and Discovery. They're doing a merger, so AT&T is pretty much selling the media aspect of their company, and they are selling it to Discovery to form a new company, which is probably going to be called Warner Media or Warner Media Discovery or Warner Discovery or Discovery Warner or something along those lines. Some merger kind of name.
Whoever bought who is going their names first. Whoever bought who. So if Warner made the
It's
acquisition,
Discovery made the acquisition, technically.
really,
Yeah, Discovery.
I thought it
I
was
mean,
the other
AT&T
way
has so
around.
much debt, dude. So
Yeah,
that's
no, that
really the
makes.
problem. But so then probably Discovery Warner. But what the report is right now is they're saying because
Who's Discovery owned by? They're not their own entity.
they are.
Because I saw you can get like this thing called Discovery Plus, and it comes with like a bunch of other. I thought it was like an NBC or a
I don't think so.
MSNB. Hold on.
Who,
You keep talking. I'm looking
who
into
owns
this.
Discovery? Yeah, let me see now. Advanced
Advanced
Publications.
Publications. They have a 31% equity in it. So I think these people own CBS as well.
Yeah, I mean, but
TLC and Animal Planet, all that sort of shit.
yeah, Warner Bros. Games. Obviously, we're familiar with making Harry Potter and Batman games and all of that. Suicide Squad, Mortal Kombat, the Lego games. They're up in the air right now, and I mean, the initial reports are saying that it's looking like any of the bigger assets. So let's say studios. I can't think of any of the studio names right now. Warner Bros. Montreal, Rocksteady, uh,
Realm.
any of the bigger studios are going to the new merger company, the Discover Warner.
Are they?
But the smaller things like mobile, any of the mobile studio things look like they're staying with AT&T. It's up in the air, I'd imagine, about TT Games who make the Lego games because they're not like a big.
Details. They
Um,
make a lot of money. They
they
bring in
do,
a
and
lot.
that's why I feel like AT&T might try to keep them. That's still up in the air. It's also up in the air if Discovery Warner wants to actually keep these games or if they want to sell them, because that's obviously an option too. They could very well try to sell them to.
Tell you this. I
Uh,
hope if that does happen, I want Microsoft to acquire Rocksteady, NetherRealm. Rocksteady because Xbox needs an exclusive superhero game on their platform. Now that PlayStation has Spider-Man, and who
yeah, I
better to
mean, you'd
count?
have to pay for the rights to get Batman, but
Just buy
Microsoft has
Rocksteady.
money, so
Yeah, and then imagine having that Suicide Squad game as its Game Pass day one. Ooh,
yeah.
and then I mean, you got NetherRealm. That'd be another great acquisition for
And they want
Microsoft in my
fighting
opinion.
games, so I mean, they've
Yeah,
been saying
because
that for a while.
you have NetherRealm take over Killer Instinct. You have a IP almost as big as Mortal Kombat, prob.
Yeah, you can make
I
some cool crossover shit, probably. I
It's
mean,
Killer Instinct was huge in the 90s, and even though the revival made by Double Helix was really good, you know, NetherRealm is the best there is at making fighting games. MK11 is the best fighting game ever made, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm not saying that because I just jumped in. I'm not a casual. I mean, I've been playing Mortal Kombat for pretty much all my life now. And I mean, this is the natural evolution and it's the pinnacle of their game design and design philosophy. So that's why I claim it to be the best. So to have them work on Killer Instinct, especially, I follow Ed Boon on Twitter. And he's like, has polls sometimes like, which fighting game would you love for us to work on? Like, obviously it was like one option was Marvel, another was like Mortal Kombat versus DC again, I think. Another one was like Godzilla and Kaijus, but one of the options was actually Killer Instinct. That's
yeah,
the one I voted for. So obviously Ed's thought about it and he's made other tweets about Killer Instinct too. So like even if Microsoft doesn't acquire them but like contracts Killer Instinct out to them, I don't know. That'd be pretty awesome.
yeah, I agree.
I just, regardless, I just want these studios to be well taken care of because the people who work at them are extremely talented.
Yeah,
We have Monolith as well. We forgot to mention,
yeah, it's
Fear
true.
and the Shadow of Mordor and War Games. I mean, like, in all the studios you mentioned, these people have made masterclass work, straight masterpieces in some occasions. And I pretty much from the developers that we both named, every single game that's come out from them in recent memory, I have thoroughly enjoyed. All the Batman Arkham games, the Middle Earth games, the Lego games when I was a kid. I think they've dropped in quality. I haven't played as many recently, but Skywalker Saga looks great.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm
play
waiting
that.
for it.
Um, Besides the sequel trilogy missions, I'm not playing those. I don't. Anyways, we got them. Got Mortal Kombat. We got Injustice with NetherRealm. There are so many. There's so many that we're forgetting to mention here that because we
Yeah,
just
I
aren't,
mean,
gaming encyclopedias. We know a lot, but we don't know, you know, a lot. Well, we don't know everything off the top of our heads, but I just want these developers, these talented individuals, to find a good home, and I hope they can stay with their current home. Yeah, I should have phrased that better. I didn't mean I hope they can find a good home in terms of like being fired and relocated.
yeah,
That's the last thing I meant. I mean, if they have a new owner, I hope they can find a good home.
yeah.
But I hope they're able to just stay with whatever makes them the most comfortable. So
There's
if that
also
would
Avalanche
change
Software we
it.
were forgetting about.
Oh yeah, they're Mad Max was them.
Yep,
They helped make that. That was great. Um,
and they're doing Hogwarts.
Yeah, well, so they're probably gonna hold on to Avalanche because I think they're gonna want that Harry Potter money. Because that game is gonna sell a lot when it comes out. Because I don't even like Harry Potter. Like I don't dislike it, but I don't like it either. So, but I'm gonna get the game
Yeah,
because I imagine it's gonna be awesome. If it's really like just a wizard RPG, that would be the reason I'm going in for it, not for Harry Potter or anything. Even though the world is cool, definitely an intriguing aspect of it. Um, it's concerning. It's concerning because I don't want someone like Tencent or EA or Activision to make any moves here. Someone anti-consumer.
Well, I mean, Embracer's planning. They're in talks to acquire 150 companies at the moment. That just came out in the report.
Don't want anyone to lose their jobs, especially. That's the most important thing. And I don't want the integrity of any of their franchises to be compromised by new owners. Um, it's another major red flag. And how the hell is Embracer Group not, busted yet for being in a monopoly? Like,
150. They're in talks with 150, and they're
where do
close to closing the deal on 20. Like, that's just not. I can't even think of 150 studios off the top of my head.
how is that allowed?
And they're all
Like,
smaller, double A studios, and and eventually,
it's either going to keep pumping out remakes and remasters and re-releases until they build up enough of a portfolio where they start making their own games. And I think the first major one of that is going to be Saints Row 5 because they own Deep Silver,
yeah,
they own Volition. Um, they have been working on it for an extremely long time. We know it's in existence. We know it's coming out soon. It was supposed to come out this year, but then COVID delayed everything. We haven't heard anything time, but I think that's going to be their push into the mainstream with Saints Row 5.
yeah, they're gonna keep pushing. I mean, they're gonna
They
become.
have
They're gonna try to become a giant. They'll probably have their own subscription program as well. I mean, with the amount of
do
studios they
they
have.
wait, if they own Deep Silver, do they own Koch Media, the
Yeah, they
people
do.
who make the Metro games?
Yep.
Oh, wow. So they own Metro now
Yep.
too.
And
And
now
that's
they own
getting
Gearbox, so that's another AAA.
shit.
So
Well, Gearbox, take it or leave it at
yeah,
this
but
point.
still,
Not
it's
Borderlands, I don't give a fuck.
still a AAA studio technically. So I mean, they're definitely gearing up, and
That's Aliens Colonial Marines.
yeah,
Which I love that game, by the way, and I played the shit out of the campaign and the multiplayer with my friends when we were kids, but as an adult, I can see why people disliked it. I am blinded by nostalgia for it, but it doesn't excuse Gearbox's shitty development. They do
yeah,
have a good portfolio. My own personal issues aside, Embracer Group's making hella money moves, and it's something I'm very conflicted on because like it's so cool and weird to see all these companies like coming together so quickly, and it's just such a unique thing to see. But I don't want this much of the gaming marketplace to be owned by one entity, and I guess that's the way it's gonna end up.
yeah.
By like
We're getting there eventually.
like decades down the line, like it'll be 3 or 4 main companies that just own everything. Maybe 5 because you got like the 3 platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. And no, maybe not 5. That's a little conservative. But then maybe I think 10. I think 10 would be a good number. Not a good number,
Yeah,
but an
but
act.
it's something that will happen. I mean, even something like a Ubisoft, like that could get acquired, bro. I mean, I know it seems like out of this world, but Bethesda also seemed out of this world, and that happened. Like
I don't think
Square Enix seems out of this world, but that could eventually happen. Sega could eventually happen. It's like,
WB itself. I mean, we were talking
yeah,
about a while ago before any of this. Like
yeah.
they were
Now that's on the line, but we're not gonna know until it happens. That's just one of the things that it's gonna
probably
happen, and it's gonna suck. I mean,
EA, Activision, and Tencent will definitely be part of that list as well.
yeah, I mean, those are the companies where you feel a little iffy about. Like, I mean, EA just opened up a new studio. Um, I forget what they're working on, but I don't think they said what they're working on. I think they said like open world, but they'll shove microtransactions into anything they can get. I mean, hopefully they'll change their vision on that after Fallen Order, but I doubt it. And it's like Tencent is, how it is, and it's just it's
They're
gonna
terrible.
happen, and microtransactions are gonna be in these games, and you're gonna see the price of games continue to increase up to $70. And
A lot of these $70 titles aren't worth 70. Like I paid 70 for Returnal, and I fucking regret it. That game is not worth $70 to me.
I got it for free, technically speaking.
Yeah, technically speaking.
After
But
fucking Walmart, no, Target loses in the mail, or FedEx technically loses it in the mail, and I'm like, yeah, Target, that's lost, and they're like, yeah, we'll refund you, and then it shows up at my house the next day. I mean, I still haven't opened it. I'm waiting for the save system. I don't want to fucking play it without a save system.
too, that's my thing. I don't want
If I'm going 3 hours into a run, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta go to sleep now or something, and then I lose my progress, like that's some bullshit, bro.
That's why I haven't played past my first run. Besides that one time I played it before the podcast and we talked about it for like a brief 10
Yeah,
minutes. I haven't touched it since. Um
That's
Yeah,
fair.
real disappointing about that lack of save feature. But
Yeah. All right, let's move into our next topic here. Very short topic, but I want to at least mention it because it is a huge game. Um, so the expanded and enhanced versions of GTA 5 and GTA Online are arriving on PS5 and Xbox Series X/S, with new features and more on November 11th, 2021. Now that's I don't know. I mean, I get that they're GTA and they can just fucking give this out any time of the year and it'll be popular, but November, that I always thought this would come out in the summer, and they cause, not many games come out in the summer, and this is like something.
let's say enhanced and expanded, and they keep using those two
Yeah, the
as like
expanded, like
two
enhanced makes
buzzwords.
sense. Like, all right, new graphics and all that, but expanded, that makes me think that some of the GTA Online content's gonna make its way into single player. That's my guess. Like some of the
Like the new
robberies,
island and the new
the
island they
heists,
add.
some of the new areas, and all that. That'd be my guess. I don't think they're gonna be like, oh, here's a whole new story DLC with it. Like,
Be nice.
I think
Here,
they'll
now
just
let me ask,
repurpose the GTA Online stuff into story mode.
now let
Now,
me ask you a question,
yeah,
and I don't know if you know this because I don't know how much you've looked into it. I did GTA Online long time ago because I transferred to PC from. Oh, started on 360, went to Xbox One, went to PC, and then I hit like level 150 on PC, and I just stopped playing, GTA Online. A lot of my friends moved to Xbox, and that's where I've been past years. It's just consoles mainly. Um, so I haven't really been able. I played GTA Online a little bit on my Xbox One. I Back when I had some friends on Xbox that wanted to play it, but it was so terrible because I was stuck on my like level 90 character from before I transferred, and I couldn't transfer my PC character back. So I'm wondering, will I get to transfer my PC character to the Series X version?
no,
No.
I doubt it.
So, but then how are people going to transfer their characters? So, like, you think they'll
I
enable
think it'll
transfer
just be PC to
console?
PC, Xbox to next Xbox. I would imagine. I mean, I could be wrong, but
I hope you are, because if that's the case, I'm not touching that online. Like, it's so pay to win, and it is so cancerous because everybody just flies around on like that hovering motorcycle, the oppressor,
yeah,
that it can't really be shot down like you can if you have a homing launcher. But someone can just like spam that on you and just kill you repeatedly. And the kicker is, if you shoot it down to defend yourself, it counts as a personal vehicle, so it takes $10,000 out of your bank account. So if you're playing the game legitimately, like I was on Xbox, and you put all of this time and effort into getting supplies for your business, and building up your infrastructure, you make so little
it's
money
always been
from
pay to win. That's just how they're gonna be.
I know, but like I put so much more time into it on PC, so the shit I had, I actually stood a chance against
They
those
don't give a
assholes.
shit because they want you to buy more shark cards.
It's not gonna happen. I already spent money on shark cards throughout the entirety of me playing this game since 2013.
Yeah, but I
Since
mean,
I was
people are gonna buy. That's just how popular this game is and how much they make off shark cards. They know more people are willing to buy shark cards than not buying shark cards, and it's a
I make so
shame,
much
but
money off it. It's why we don't have GTA 6 yet. It's literally
exactly.
cards,
But
but I just look. I'm so down if they allow me to transfer from PC to Series X.
no,
But if not, I mean, I'm not touching the online at all. I'll play the single player over again, see what's new, because GTA 5 has a great and highly cinematic story, and I would not mind replaying that,
yeah,
especially if I'm
same.
gonna get achievements again and it's gonna look all nice. And I love GTA single players. Before 5, I didn't play GTA multiplayer at all. I just always stuck to the single player. And I mean, really, San Andreas and Vice City and 3 didn't have multiplayer, but 4 did, and I tried it out once, but I was always a single player guy, and it's still mainly that for GTA 5. But I would love, 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 love to get back into the online on Series X with my friends. But if I can't transfer my PC character, it's not happening. So I know how unlikely it is. I imagine it's quite impossible. But if anyone from Rockstar is watching this, anybody, well, it's not impossible, improbable, I guess would be a better word. Listen to me. If anybody there is watching this, if for no other reason than for my sanity and the safety of my soul to make sure it doesn't become corrupted, please, please bring online character transfers from PC to Series X with your third version of GTA 5 I bought in this game 3 fucking times. Well, your fourth version, I guess. So I got a 360, Xbox One, PC. I bought this game 3 fucking times from you guys. I'm about to do it a 4th. Let me use my online character. You greedy sons of bitches. You have enough. Understand that. You have enough.
Now there was some news about GTA 3. They made a note saying that there'll be more fun surprises for the 20th anniversary of Grand Theft Auto 3.
I
And
think
then
we're
they
getting
mentioned that this doesn't specifically mean for GTA Online.
Yeah, I think what we're gonna get it well specifically for GTA Online. So we'll probably get some clothing items from GTA 3 and GTA Online.
Yeah,
That's what I would expect. But if we get like modern re-releases of
that's what I
San
want, but I know it's
Andreas,
not going to happen.
Vice City- well, no, it could. It doesn't take much effort. It doesn't take much money at all. Capcom does it all the time with RE4 and RE5 and RE6.
Yeah,
They just re-release it on all these platforms. It doesn't take much effort. Look, all you need to do is format it for the new controller, make it fit 4K 60 FPS TVs or 4K 120 hertz at TVs, depending on what you have, and you'll make a fuck ton of money. Release them all together, digital disc, both or whatever. People will buy it. I would like it physically, but I doubt that would happen. So even if you re-release these games, because right now you can only play San Andreas on modern consoles, and that's only on Xbox because you can play the updated 360 version via backwards compatibility. And I actually have not my Series X but my One X, and it looks and runs phenomenally. It's awesome. So if they do that for 3 and Vice City, which I don't mean to piss anyone off, but Vice City is definitely the best out of that trilogy of games. So to see that on like my Series X and to be able to play through Vice City all over again, I would love it. I would be so fucking happy. It might only be GTA 3 for now because it is just the anniversary for GTA 3, and I know I'm going overboard with this wishful thinking. So maybe I should dial back, start small, even if we get an HD re-release of GTA 3 for modern consoles. That would be awesome because GTA 3 is a great game. I remember so many memories getting that game on my iPod when I was like real young and playing it outside to hide from my mom because I didn't want her to hear it or see it because she was so heavily anti GTA back in the day. Like a lot of parents were because it was like GTA seemed. Look, if kids today don't know, but you probably remember back then, parents thought GTA was the fucking Antichrist,
yeah.
essentially just the gateway to hell for your kids to
I
lose their
couldn't get GTA 4. I remember I had to get a compromise for Saints Row the Third, which
It was way worse than GTA 4. But oh my god, I remember I wanted 5 and I wanted to pre-order 5
yeah,
and my mom shot me down. But she let me get 4 instead because it was older and not as violent, apparent.
yeah. I remember I got 5 for I
I
think it was
got
my
5.
birthday.
I think 5 came out in September and I believe I got it in November of 2013, either November 2013 or
Yeah, I
February.
couldn't get it on launch.
It was either late 2013, early 2014. So I got it around the launch window, but not at launch.
Yeah, I couldn't get it on launch, but my parents told me to get it for my birthday, which I was able to
I
play that
remember,
card. So
and I remember my mom was like, you can do whatever you want in the game except go to the strip club. And I was like,
all
okay.
right, pick up a hooker then.
And then I remembered in GTA 4, I had to stop at Undress to Kill, the mission where you go up and shoot up the strip club. And then in GTA 5, you do the mission where you walk in the strip club with Wade after you killed like his family or whatever. And of course, that's the time my mom picks to come home and walk in and watch me play. And I'm like, Mom, I can't control it. It's just the story is making me come here. I'm not getting a lap dance or anything. Like, calm down. So like, yeah, it used to be a real hassle to play GTA back in the day, but no more. No more Butchie. No more
Yes.
of this.
All right, let's move on into our next topic here. Oh, I can't type. I wish
No,
I had.
speaking of that Sopranos quote, while we're just killing time, I just hit season 6 in my rewatch yesterday.
Dope.
Almost done for it with the second time.
All right, so the Game Pass games. Nothing crazy here. A pretty average set of titles, but we got Secret Neighbor for PC, The Wild at Heart PC and console, The Catch Carpent Course Fishing PC and console, Knockout City PC and console, Maneater PC and console, Conan Exiles Xbox, Mech Warrior 5 on Xbox, Slime Rancher on PC, Solasta on PC, and then Spellforce 3 on PC.
Well, I heard Spellforce 3 is good, and I've heard crap. What was the one before the one that you said before that?
Slime Rancher.
Slime Rancher. Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't played it, but I heard that's really good. I think it has an overwhelmingly positive on Steam, if I'm not
And
mistaken.
then
Like that's a game people really like.
for the games leaving Game Pass, we have Assetto Corsa, Burrow Force, Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix,
Shit,
uh,
that's leaving. I should have jumped on that so much earlier.
Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, Surviving Mars, and then Void Bastards. Those are all leaving on May 31st, so 11 days from now. And then
Nice.
for the 7 games coming to Xbox Cloud Gaming with touch controls, you have Banjo Tooie, Call of the Sea, Genesis Noir, Narrative Boy, Nier Automata becomes a God's Edition, Rain on Your Parade, and 2 Point Hospital. So those will all have touch controls on the cloud. So
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Does iOS have xCloud yet?
Yes, I believe so.
And I haven't tried this out yet.
And no, I
Why?
think it's in like its testing phase. Remember the
Gosh.
emails? You didn't get one. I got one though.
Stupid because
I
I
didn't have an
literally have
iPhone, bro. I got one though.
been an Xbox member for like 9, 10 years with Live. I have a 136,000 gamer score, but yeah, fuck me, I guess. Game Pass Ultimate member, fuck me, I guess. Um, when it comes out, I'm very excited to try it. There was another game coming to Game Pass. I didn't recognize most of them. Well, I did, or I haven't played them. There was another one on there that was really good that I wanted to
Maneater,
recommend. Yes, the Shark
Shark Game.
RPG.
Yes.
It's very good. If you played Jaws Unleashed on the PS2, this game is your wet dream. Um, Phenomenal. 100%ed it. Probably gonna platinum it on PlayStation as well. And I cannot wait for the DLC for that game this
Yeah,
summer,
coming
which
soon.
is gonna heavily expand upon it in terms of gameplay, abilities, and map size. So if that, playing around as a shark and fighting deep sea creatures and mauling humans is appealing to you, um, yeah, that's gonna be one of the best games you've ever played. I know it's probably one of the most funs I've had in a game in a long time, replaying or playing Maneater. Um, Definitely excited for that DLC, and then after that, I'll probably replay it. But
Yeah. All right. And
phenomenal game.
our final topic.
Is this what I asked you to
Yes,
shoehorn?
it is. So we got some news from Dead by Daylight. So they came out on Twitter by saying, "Come for the Resident Evil chapter reveal. Stay for the party." Um,
So the review will be on May 25th, and it looks like we'll be getting obviously new killer, new survivor, new map. Map will probably be some lockdown portion of Raccoon Police Department or RPD, at least what I would think, because RPD would be sick. It should be RPD. Anyway, because everybody's saying the killer is going to be Nemesis and the survivor, therefore, is obviously either going to be Jill or Leon, even though obviously Leon never runs into Nemesis. 2 and 3 take place at the same time, roughly. So it would still kind of work. And I really wanted to bring this up in the podcast for two reasons. One, because I just want to pat myself on the back a little bit because I told my friend like the same week that we're in right now. I believe on Monday we had this conversation. It might have been a little bit after then, but I don't remember, specifically. I said, "Dude, you know how much money both Capcom and Behavioral Interactive would make if they have a Resident Evil chapter?" And I said I didn't have it like exactly right. I didn't have Nemesis or Jill or Leon. I was thinking more recent. I was thinking, oh, it'd be so cool if like Lady Dimitrescu was the killer and then Chris Redfield was the survivor. And I thought, it'd be a great tie-in to boost sales for Village and then get more people into Dead by Daylight, even people who may not have played it before, but like Resident Evil, so they're like, oh, beloved character and villains in here, gonna give it a shot, and that can definitely still work with Jill and Nemesis. I mean, my main right now is Ash Williams. I haven't maxed out Prestige, so I really have nothing else to do with them. So I would love to start a new character. I've been thinking about like what character do I want to go with, and I'm gonna wait now because whoever they bring from RE, I'm going to max out as quickly as possible. And I love Dead by Daylight. The game definitely has some issues, major bouncing issues every time a killer comes out, but I play it religiously with my friends. It's one of our main multiplayer games, and I just wanted to mention it on here because I know I was very happy by this news. So if anybody watches this and they like DBD or Resident Evil, Now you know. Reveal's coming May 25th. DLC will probably drop that same day or like a week or so after. It depends on how much they're bringing in, but the DLC drop usually isn't so far away from the reveal. So that's happening on Tuesday, you said? May 25th is the Tuesday?
Yes,
Which Biomutant also comes out on Tuesday, that Tuesday. So we'll
it
have a lot
does.
to discuss next week with the RE reveal. We'll talk about what survivor gets brought in, what killer comes in, and I'll personally speculate on their abilities and what they're able to do. And we'll also be joined by Biomutant discussion as well,
Yes,
because I know I'm getting that. I don't know if Frank is, but
I'm
well, I
iffy on it.
imagine I think you should pre-order it personally, because I don't look. I know pre-ordering games aren't always. It's not always the best
No,
thing to do,
I
but
don't have a problem pre-ordering games because my
yeah, I was about to
ideology is
say
you could always
you do that
cancel when the reviews come out. So
exactly because
I don't
you
have to go
pre-order.
pick it up. No one's forcing me to drive to Best Buy to go pick it up. I could always cancel and get a refund.
That's what I did with Outriders. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's a sin to pre-order," but like you said, no. If like things come to light that shows the game isn't good, I can always cancel it. And more often than not, if the reviews are good, then I'm just gonna buy the game day one, and then I'm gonna have to wait longer for it to get here. If I pre-order it, it takes that completely out of the picture. Anyway, I think you should give Biomutant a chance because you know, if you watch any gameplay trailer
I
for it,
watched the gameplay. The gameplay looks cool.
it
I'm
looks
just
so
worried
unique,
about
right?
what else is besides the combat. Like the world, it looks open but empty.
It looks beautiful.
It does look beautiful, but it looks open and empty.
You could say that about Breath of the
I know
Wild, though.
that.
We got heavy
I
Breath.
was just about to say that. I'm like, it reminds me of Breath of the Wild, and I'm not that
It
big on Breath of
looks
the
like
Wild. I'm sorry.
neither am I. I only got halfway through the game. I still intend to beat it, but it's not like old Zelda games where it just grabs me and captivates me and enthralls me for the entire experience. It definitely is probably the weakest Zelda game I've played personally. I understand why people love it. It's a
Yeah,
fantastic game. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 though. I don't even think it's a masterpiece. I understand why people think that way, and I'm not going to dissuade them from opinions, but personally for me, Biomutant just looks like a Zelda Breath of the Wild that I can really enjoy because I really feel the developers should be rewarded for creativity like this. We've never seen a game relatively similar to this in terms of aesthetic. I mean, this is such a foreign concept and such a bold one to, push for a AAA game,
yeah,
but they did it. And even with all the delays, all the developments, all the rumors of, more delays, which even you yourself said Biomutant wouldn't come out May 25th, but I agreed with you on that. But here we are. It's coming out, and it just looks so. I don't want to use the same word again, it's redundant, but it does look so unique. And I feel like creativity like this from developers should be rewarded so we get more devs who are willing to think outside of the box, break out of their comfort zone, and try something new. So I think for that reason alone, you should look into getting this game. But beyond that, I think it's going to be quality. The boss fights give me major Shadow of the Colossus vibes, at least from what they've shown. They all look like they're going to challenge you in different ways. I like that the gameplay changes up like that, so it's not a bore. You're not repeating the same action over and over again. The world looks beautiful. I have no idea about the lore, but I want to find out about the lore because all these creatures have such awesome designs, and I think this is going to be something different, and I think it should be checked out for that reason.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna wait for the reviews.
That's fair.
Or if I get
That's
a review copy, then I'll check it out myself. I mean, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it definitely looks intriguing. It's interesting. The combat looks fun. But I'm just concerned if there will be an actual story there, just based on the fact that it's a 20-person team, and I don't know how much to actually expect there from a story perspective. But gameplay does look fun. It looks like it can carry it. But some of the objectives, like I was watching it, PewDiePie got 4 hours of gameplay time, and just some of the actual world objectives, they looked very, I don't want to say like repetitive, but they kind of looked repetitive. And if there's not much of a narrative to push it through that,
I
and
feel like there has to be a narrative though.
I
I
hope
mean, like
there. I mean, I
I
tried
hope it's
to.
like Breath of the Wilds where it's like so loose. You talk to an NPC every so often. That's how you progress the story.
Yeah,
I don't want it to be like that. I do
I
want it to
agree.
be structured,
But
but
and that's what I'm concerned about. If it's more along the lines of just like Breath of the Wild kind of story, then that's probably not going to be up my alley as much. But the
if
gameplay
the
does look a
world
lot of fun.
But if the world isn't empty and like around every corner there's something unique to experience, like those random encounters, I guess in Valhalla, it's just the first
Yeah.
thing I can think of because of that background behind you. But if it's like that, where just by organically exploring the world, you come into the content often, and it's done way better than Valhalla does it, because I think Valhalla does it kind of shittily,
Yeah.
apart from a few instances. But if it takes that same concept and makes it work, and even if they just do that for side content and do have heavily structured main story content, which I would prefer, um, I think you're gonna get your dollar's worth out of this game. I don't think it's gonna be lacking for content. I could be wrong, but with how long this game has been in development, with how much they've shown us, I think this is gonna be a winner. I don't think it's gonna be Game of the Year, but I think it's gonna be a quality title that'll be remembered for years to come, and hopefully the start of a new IP. If it's that good, this is definitely a breath of fresh air we're talking about. Look, Mass Effect, for me it was a fresh breath of air because I never played it before. But there really is nothing else like it. Obviously, there are other RPGs in that same vein, but nothing with the connectivity between like the trilogy that Mass Effect has. Just apart from Walking Dead, like there are no other RPGs that let you carry over all your choices from previous games like that. Because yeah, you can say, oh, you can bring Witcher 2 choices into Witcher 3, but no Witcher 1 choices, right? Like Mass
Yeah.
Effect's the only game to have it on like a trilogy level. An RPG, I should say, not a game. But it was just so, you know, foreign to me to have that much connectivity between mainline entries. And to me, even though, to others who have played the games before, to me it was a breath of fresh air. So for people who haven't had, that revival of interest in gaming like I have, recently, this might be that game because there really is nothing else like it as far as I can tell besides those Breath of the Wild comparisons we made, and
Yeah.
obviously take a look at the game, you're like, okay, this is not Breath of the Wild even if it shares, similar elements. I think it's worth taking a shot on. Now, if it's dog shit, I apologize. If you don't feel like risking your money, I completely understand to everybody watching, but I'm willing to take a bet on it. I am.
That's fair.
Something I'll get on.
That's fair. Um, well, on that note, that is it for the topics, guys. So, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week, and we'll talk about Biomutant and a few other things next week. So, see you then.
Later, everyone.